Hello, my friends. Hello, my family. We are live. We are back. Welcome to the show. This is the Saturday night. Saturday Revolutionary Blackout Network live. I have a lot to talk about. There are a lot to discuss. If you are new, we've been getting a lot of new viewers that have been watching the show. There have been a lot of people that reached out to me after the Destiny debate. I posted it for a little bit. And I took it down because I don't like having like brag tweets up for too long. But there was this guy that was like, after watching the Destiny debate, I want to move further to the left of the Democratic Party. Don't want to be a social democrat no more. And that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. Some people ask me why I took the debate with Destiny, because RBN can become, it could be a little echo chambery at times. Nothing wrong with that. I don't think there's nothing wrong with that, as long as we educating our family and our community, right? But I think it's good for you guys to see how I will handle other perspectives. So we have been getting a lot of people, like my followers, being wild on Twitter, man. I don't know if Destiny posted the debate. I don't think he will. I think he usually just posts live streams. I don't know how he usually does it. But yeah, there's definitely been a boost after that. So if you're new, please hit the like button, subscribe. Social Democrats is definitely, someone said, don't be so. Social Democrats are definitely better than neoliberal capitalists, but we have to just educate our social democrat friends that is just a stopping point. That is just a pit stop on what the end goal actually is. When you look at a lot of the social democratic states, they still rely on slave labor. There's still exploitation. We try to eliminate that the most we can. We want as democratic as a system as we can possibly get. Well, I think you can get more when you go further to the left, when you look into communism. That's the most democratic system, right? But anyway, I don't want, that's not the conversation today, right? What I had to do this live today. We have to really hammer this situation that's going on in Uvalde. Am I saying that correctly? Right? Uvalde. I don't watch corporate news, so I usually read my news 95% of the time. So let me know if I'm saying that correctly. Because this has proven our thesis that we have been saying on Revolutionary Blackout from day one. From day one. And I have said, there has been no one, and I challenge anyone, look at our archive. Look at my archive. I wrote an op-ed about this, and I'm planning another op-ed on Substack. There has not been a single network that has been more dedicated on exposing the police state than Revolutionary Blackout. We have led, that's one of the reasons why we decided to start this Black network, because we've seen the weakness. Look at we had the squad and Bernie Sanders voting for the U.S. Domestic Terrorism Act, which is expanding our police state and our national security state, and white leftists cheer them on. Sam Cedar said he don't care if police get funded more during his debate. Like, imagine if I explained when we did our debate breakdown, I literally led him into traps. It was pretty damn easy. I led Destiny into the trap when I led him to pretty much describe manifest destiny, right? Anyway, I don't want to talk about the debate. That's not what we hear about. But imagine the traps I could set for that guy, who he literally said, I don't care about police funding. This has not been an issue that's on the forefront. They will report on when we die. Like, they will do a George Floyd story. You know, they got to capitalize off Black death. But in terms of education, analyzing the police state, I do it almost every stream. Like, you guys watch my stream. Almost every stream there's a dedicated segment exposing our police, because this is the biggest flaw of neoliberal capitalism. This is the biggest thing that exposes the right. I'm gonna show you guys later Tim Pool with the dumbest tweet I have ever seen in my life. That's the next segment we're gonna do after the first one. And that's why I've been warning you guys about these quote unquote right-wing libertarians, the quote unquote populists. Tim Pool is a giant police state bootlicker who believes that 40% of the city's police budget going to the cops is not enough. These are the quote unquote right-wing populists. And let me spell this out clearly for you guys. If you do not support eliminating the police state as we know it, if you do not support ending the military and the prison industrial complex, you cannot call yourself a populist. You are not for the people. You are for white America. I'm standing with my Palestinian brothers and sisters, my Latino brothers and sisters, my Muslim brothers and sisters. Like, I can go on and on and on, right? I don't have to list all of them, right? Well, you guys know. That's what it means to be a populist. That's what it means to be on the left. There are a lot of people who forgot. There are people that think the left is about suburban politics, white suburbanite politics. Oh, we for Medicare for all. We for cancer student loan debt. But even though we increase the police state more, even though we vote for Iron Dome, right? That means no, you're not on the left. The left has always been for colonized and liberated, and for the liberation of disenfranchised people and empowerment of the workers. All those things are intertwined, right? That's why class equals race. To be class conscious is to fight for the liberation of disenfranchised people that are being crushed by the capitalist system. And there are a lot of people who they would ignore this fight for liberation because they're like, oh, I don't want to engage in the culture war. No, when you being neutral on the state of the police state is taking a side. They don't understand that. If you are neutral on Republicans banning Black authors on their crusade of critical race theory, them banning protesters, if you're neutral on that, you are taking a side. That you're not refusing to engage in that significant culture war or whatever, right? So anyway, and I want to circle back to the main point before I start getting too randy here, because the point is we've seen the weakness on the left because they push more and they advocate more for suburbanite politics and they ignore state violence. There are people that are still dumbfounded. There are people who still attack me and still smear me because I go after Bernie Sanders and AOC with ruthless abandon. Because they have over and over again sold us out to the police state and the military industrial complex. Nina Turner was selling out Palestinians to the Israeli lobby by refusing to support BDS. That is how you got to look at this stuff. John Fetterman is throwing Palestinians under the bus when he said he refuses to support BDS. He's a staunch Israeli ally. And you got white progressives that are cheering for this guy. He's cheering for the guy that is against defund the police, and he pulled a shotgun on a Black jogger when he was young and dumb in his 40s. Oh man, he was young and dumb. He was only in his 40s. They're like, oh, not a big deal. He put a shotgun on a Black man. He making your lives less safe for the crime of being Black in his neighborhood. There is no apologizing for that. And like Sabby said, Sabby did break down this. He wasn't even apologetic about it. Anyway, the point is, RBN. I'm glad that we get in the platform we are. I think we're like 15 subscribers away from 18. Okay, because there have been so much of the issues that the mainstream boutique left has missed, and the police state is the thing that exposes them the most. The police state is what exposes neoliberalism the most. The police state is what exposes right-wing libertarians like Tim Pool the most. That's why I implore you guys, take this issue seriously. RBN, we've been spearheading this, right? Big props to Jimmy as well, because he covered this as well. They said Jimmy the right winger. Meanwhile, he's the only one covering the police state properly. A lot of them don't take this shit seriously. But now the tide has changed. I dare you guys to name one policy proposal They came from the left that has grown in popularity as fast as defund the police. My brother CJ tweeted out, he's like, "Poll defund the police right now. I dare y'all." They did exit polling. We're the only media channel that reported on this. They did exit polling after, and this is why I was explaining to Destiny's audience. They had no idea about this. That's why I was like, bro, I don't blame you. I don't blame you for not knowing this because media propaganda is insane, right? I explained to them that they did exit polling because the media was trying to attack the movement. And they was running stories all the time about how unpopular defund the police was because it was underwater when the movement started. It was like minus 35 among all voters. And then literally in 1 year, we took that. We had the election. They exit polled people in January, and they found 55% independents supported the idea of reallocating police funds to healthcare, housing, and economic programs. 74% Democrats. And the thing is, you wouldn't know this. Like, it was like 15% of Republicans. And then 10% of Republicans are unsure. Guys, that's a fucking shit ton. That's a ton of people. That's a ton of people. So how many Republicans voted for Trump last year? Do you guys know? I don't know the numbers off the top of my head. Isn't it like 70 million or something like that? I don't know how many people voted for Trump. Maybe I should Google it, but it's not really that important. Take how many people that voted for Trump and then like take 10% of that. That's millions of Republicans that agree with us on this issue. That's a lot. Then you add 55% independents, 74% Democrats. The vast majority, like 3 out of 4 of the black community is for it. It is white America, including white liberals in the polls, that is holding that number back. You guys realize that, right? So even among Democrats, the white Democrats are against it. Black Democrats, Latinos are farly for it. Do you see anyone? Do you guys see anyone who covered these numbers like this? People like Kyle Kalinske, he covered this misleading headline that I broke down many times on the show. Where he was like 1 out of 5 people are against defund the police. That's why it's a bad slogan. That was it, and he never covered it ever since. No retraction. I dove into that story, and then those numbers are consistently the same. The reason why that poll showed 1 out of 5 is because that wasn't even the question. They asked a misleading question like, do you support the defund the police movement? Which is vague as hell. Most people don't know what you mean by that. Then they asked, do you support reallocating police budgets? And then that's the numbers that I'm reading you. Kyle didn't explain this to his audience, the white left that we were talking about. And to be clear, I do not give a fuck if you like what we call it. If you agree with us on our method, that's the only thing that matters to me. I explained that with Garland Nixon. I explained to him that even with our slogan, it's shocking, but it meant to elicit thought. And then when we elicit thought, people will join us on our side because we are on the right side. That's why we grew in popularity. So people may still not like the slogan. Like you can dislike the slogan all you want, but you got to admit the slogan did exactly what it's designed to do. A slogan is not designed for you to just ignore the movement. Like, oh, whatever. The slogan is meant for you to be like, oh shit, what is this? Whether that pro or negative. And then once we start the education process, we saw people like, oh shit, actually, yeah, that's a good idea. That's all we want. You realize that's all we want. So poll it now. That was in the exit polling of last election. Poll it now. Now I've seen everyone outraged. Now there are people who are just virtue signaling. That always happens. But I've seen people that are significantly to my right that was pissed off at this. Like I just did Kyle Kalinske, so I do give him credit. He did report on the cops not showing up and not saving people. That's how bad it is. It's so bad that Breaking Points did a segment talking about this. Breaking Points of all people. The tide is shifting. And guys, I love that shit. I'm not here to fucking gatekeep. I criticize these people for not covering this shit enough. If they do cover it, that's great. That's great. I see people tweeting about cop incompetence. Something that we've been explaining on this show from day one, which is why we are growing. which is why we offer a unique perspective on this channel. You are not seeing other places. We are there, out there in front, and now people are starting to catch up. Yeah, Jimmy did tear. I see people in the comments. Yeah, Jimmy, once again, props to him because he one of the first people I saw really taking this issue seriously. I saw him cover the George Floyd protest, right? I explained this on a stream before. People are like, why don't you go after Jimmy Dore? Why don't you attack Jimmy? Bro, I'm not seeing him attack our movements. Like all the small culture war disagreements, to me, I don't find that too significant. As long as you're not getting in the way of our movements. People like Sam Cedar say they are to the left of Jimmy, but he said he don't care about police funding. So that just don't make sense to me. You gotta have revolutionary discipline. You gotta have your eyes on the prize. Jimmy is calling out imperialism. He is doing stories against the police state. The other people, they are just now joining the bandwagon because it's cool. And the Conspirian was literally fucking railing against homeless people in California. But anyway, I don't want to get into it. You guys in the chat, you guys be edging me on. I'm not trying to make this about content creators, but I don't ignore the chat. If you guys make it about it, I guess it's about it. It's whatever. But you guys led me to that. I just want to let you guys know. That was a chat. So yeah, if you guys ask me, I'll tell you how I feel. But the main focus is on the police state. It's good when we have people in the media that are finally covering this properly. And trust me, guys, in the 2 years I've been in this space, ever since I've been a commentator in last 2 years, I know who've been on this issue and who have not. Trust me. Trust me. I know who threw us under the bus like Crystal Ball did when she was like, yeah, I don't like defund the police. I don't like that slogan. It's hurting the Democrats. I've seen so many quote unquote white leftists say that. You guys think I don't know who's on our side and who's not? Anyway, I'm gonna move on. You guys are trying to start a fight. So before I get to the main story, you guys see the title of the video. I'm mad because we was breaking this down. Was I with CJ? I think I was with CJ. We was breaking down how the cops literally allowed the gunmen to kill people because they was cowering in fear. And then this story came out. Literally, I saw this after we got done live. I was like, fuck. If only I had a chance to talk about this with CJ. So we just like maybe a day late on this. But you had the cops blaming teachers, man. They smeared and blamed the dead teacher who can't even defend herself. That's how desperate and that's how shameless these scumbags are. But we're going to get to that soon. I want to show you guys something because now people are coming around with something I have been reporting on as a citizen journalist for 2 years now, advocating for it even longer. Co-founded 10 Demands. If you guys saw, check out my live stream we did yesterday. We had my brother Awkward, my sister Petrana, our friend of the show, co-host Zoya's Love. I co-founded 10 Demands with these people because if you are a member of the proletariat, especially if you're black and brown, we live this shit. So my job, when I first started in this game, I started out as a citizen journalist. Well, I'm like, I want to hear people's stories so I can accurately explain how people are living in this country. That's why when I had my debate with Destiny, when I told him how we are not a civilized society. You've been a millionaire for how? I didn't say this to his face, but the implication was clear. You've been a millionaire for years, so obviously you don't know what's going on. So when I explained to him how we are a barbaric society when most people's brain was broken, because this shit is not a glorious lifestyle for most of the members of the proletariat, he had nothing to say. His audience was shocked. That's the first time they was exposed to these ideas, which is why my followers is fucking going crazy right now ever since that debate. Our subs are going up because people are seeing stuff from our perspective for the very first time. Before we get to the main story, I'm gonna show you guys real stories. Here. Let me share my screen. Let me set this up. Here it is. There are real stories. Maybe I should share my story first because I tweeted this. Like, this is October 2020, and this tweet was banging in terms of participation. 142 quote tweets. A lot of people. Like, how many actual comments that we had in here? Like 300 comments. Where I said, and this is the story I had. Let me probably share the story because we always, especially in my community, we always knew cops was incompetent. Why do you guys think I am challenging this? And this has been my main focus. There was a point in time where I was influenced by propaganda because propaganda is so strong. So this happened about 10 years ago, where I never liked the police. I've always been influenced by fuck the police. I always thought there was a negative influence in our society. But there was a time where I would still call them because I thought, well, at least you guys will help me if I'm in trouble, right? So that I think that was my. It's been a long time. That was my position. Always had a disdain to police towards authority, but I'm like, at least I can call them if some shit goes down because I still had a little bit of propaganda, right? Now you guys saw I had a viral tweet not too long ago. Some guy broke into my car, smashed my window, and I'm like, I'm not fucking calling the cops. You guys out your damn mind. I didn't call the cops. Fuck that. I never call the cops now. There's no point. So what happened was, I remember 10 years ago, and they had to be scoping our place out because me and my friend was gone all but 10 minutes, right, to get some snacks or some shit. Once again, 10 years ago. I'm doing my best with my memory. So we leave. Someone kick in my door, steals I literally just got this Apple computer. The very first laptop I ever had in my life. Took me so long to save for this shit, and then I put the rest on a credit card. They bust in, stole my fucking Apple computer, stole my friend's phone, and then they ran out real quick. Luckily, they didn't steal more. My PlayStation was like yanked out, and it was on the ground, so I can tell they tried to pull it out quickly, and luckily I had it secured, and then they ran away. I don't know if they had someone on lookout because as soon as they saw me pull back in, they left. So I was like, oh, so imagine me, 20 years old, Apple computer. That's the first time I ever had a chance to play like real computer games like that. I never played computer games. A lot of people grew up with PC gaming. No, we had Nintendo because we never had a good computer. The first good computer I ever had was stolen. So being devastated and still believing the cops actually give a fuck. I call these people. I call the cops up, thinking because I saw Law and Order. See, I'm thinking that there's gonna be fingerprints. They're gonna look at the security cameras because there's if you see these propaganda shows, they always really care about solving a crime. They're always extremely invested, and they do everything they can to solve a crime. Bro, I called the cops, and they was like kind of fucking pissed that I was bother them. I remember like this passive aggressive tone that the operator had. The police showed up. Like, oh, what is this? Oh, god damn it, motherfucker! Like they were kind of like annoyed that I even called them. And then I was expecting them to have fingerprints. They was like, yeah, we're going to do a report. We look around and we let you guys know. They dipped out in like 5 minutes. I'm like, bro, what? Bro, that planted the seed. 10 years ago. That was one of the things that planted the seed. Well, I was like, bro, they don't give a fuck about you. Like, they literally, I would still never forget the attitude. I think it was like later at night. So it was like 10 p.m. So maybe they was being woke up. I don't get it because the energy that they showed me, even though I had my fucking laptop stolen, my friend had his phone stolen. They didn't give a fuck. I know they had street cameras everywhere. They could have looked, but they didn't care. And then I know for a damn fact that they treat the white community different than that. Because you will hear stories from like how white people think the police act. I'm like, bro, what are you talking about? Like black people will be like, what are you guys talking about? When you guys say the police protect and serve, that shit never made sense to us. Like, what? But tide is shifting. Our generation is different. So, look at this. Now I'm going to get into my anecdotal story before we get into the main story. So, this is the story I already explained to you guys. I wanted to explain it in longer form. So, I literally tweeted. I said, share your stories of cop incompetence. 142 quote tweets. I'm not going to read a lot of them. But I think literally reading like 3 or 4 stories will read enough. This thread I made have been burnt in my memory for a very long time. Then my friend Grady, my apartment was broken into and robbed. We had 3 witnesses who could identify the thief, as well as the video footage of the thief rumbling through things. And the cops still never caught the guy. But they did write a report. Now, this one, I still remember this one. I'll never forget this. This is my good friend, Lauren. Hope she's okay with me reading it. She did post it publicly. And I seen she talk about this all the time. So, these are my comrades. These are the stories we hear. I was raped by an MPD officer who used me and pulled me over to flirt. He never lost his job. I'm not going to share more because I want to respect her privacy, but I know the full story. It's horrific. And she's been marked by the cops ever since then, by the way. She also had an FBI raid her home. Like, Lauren been through the ringer. This is my another good friend, Lisa. Had a domestic violence incident with my ex who busted down my door and assaulted me. After the cops arrested him on 3 felonies, they searched my home for drugs and then called the CPS and tried to have my kids taken away because she had the nerve to call her a domestic violence incident. Guys, look how many responses this is. There's so many stories. I'm gonna end reading this tweet there because I'm gonna do a chat because I've been watching the chat for a while. If you're in the chat, leave your comment the stories if you want to. If you're watching the replay, leave a comment. Because as a citizen journalist, guys, this is what I am. I'll tell you guys, I take these anecdotal stories very seriously because these are the stories that they will never tell you in the media. This is the guy who started the conversation. He said, they said, him, yeah. So this one time I got some stuff stolen from my car and had to make a police report to the insurance. Afterwards, I said to the cop taking the report, so when are you guys going to get my stuff back? And we both had a good laugh because we both knew cops don't actually solve crime. Do you guys understand my point? I'm going to refrain from reading more stories, right? But I am telling you guys, those stories I read, I pulled this tweet up because this shit was burnt in my brain. So many people said they was raped by cops. I remember this one story. I'm sure it's in the tweet because I didn't forget this one. This guy said that he was raped by she was raped, and they reported it, but then the cops didn't pursue it because that was the son of a friend of the lieutenant, the lieutenant's friend's son. So they decided not to look into it, and they were like, "Oh, you're making it up." That was one of the replies. I never forgot that one. So maybe I should link the tweet. I'm gonna retweet it so you guys see on my timeline. Yeah, because it's that tweet. I will always have it bookmarked. That will always be something I go back to. Chat. We have criminal police gangs in Los Angeles. Yeah, they all fucking gangs. They all fucking thugs. Civil asset forfeiture steal more money from the working class than criminals do from us. So what is a crime? What? And this is why I asked you guys yesterday, what should happen to the cops who allowed the gunman to kill the kids in there? Bro, instead of being smug and lying in press conferences, they should be begging not to get manslaughter. They are lucky the police department is not on fucking fire right now. And this is something that Americans been programmed. We've been programmed to accept the violence against our communities because this is civility politics. Americans have been pacified by civility politics. So I guess I did a long intro. 30 fucking minutes. Damn. So we both you see in the description I have a post show call-in that's scheduled for 1:15, but I'm definitely gonna be late to that maybe because I didn't get to the main story. Let's get into the main story. Where the cops actually blame the teachers. And we have Zoya and Ark, and we explain how much they spend on PR. Cops constantly lie to the media. You even have MSNBC who ran a story that was like, maybe we should stop listening to the police in the press briefings because they always seem to lie. And I'm like, no shit. No shit, Sherlock. So this is a tweet from my good friend of the show, Comrade Misty. This is why I got that thought from. Because she's right. I don't know if I'm shocked. It's just any sane society would happen. But you see my reply to her, I said Americans been pacified by civility politics. The same civility politics that Bernie Sanders played when he called people like Jim Crow fucking Joe, the guy who built our prison industrial complex, who had the lives of millions on his back, on his conscience, that he killed through his foreign policy. That's his good friend, though, because of civility politics. RBN has been blacklisted. Nina Turner would never go on RBN because she didn't like our tone. You guys see how civility politics work? It's okay to betray Palestinian people. It's okay to sell us out to the police state like the progressives did. But if RBN is mean about calling them out, that's the real issue. Jimmy Dore calling out AOC on forced to vote, it doesn't matter if he was right on the substance. He was mean to her. That's violence, remember? So I'm bringing up those examples because I'm showing you that even progressives fall for it. But this is a mainstay in neoliberal politics, in American culture. You have fucking war criminals wagging their finger at people and saying, "How dare you?" I shared this video. This guy, this Iraq veteran who interrupted George Bush's speech. It was a long time ago, and called him out for all the people that he killed. And then the people was like, "How dare you interrupt this war criminal? That is not civil." That is what they do. And RBN has been calling this out. I refuse. RBN refused to play along with civility politics. You guys see my debate with Destiny. When I talk to someone, I can be agreeable. I'm not going to be mean to you when I talk to you. But the civility politics, we are done. That is over. Are we clear? And you notice it's always the rich motherfuckers, the Elon Musk, the David Shirotas, right? It's always these rich motherfuckers who want everyone to get along. Why don't everyone get along? Elon Musk always complained about that. Why don't we got unity, man? Why don't we just get along, Paul? You know, it's always the rich, class loyal people to their class that wants everyone to be, hey, will you calm down? I know we stole your wealth. I know we're killing people with our imperialism, but can you calm down? You guys see the difference between the quote-unquote progressives and us? They buy into the civility politics. We don't. The police in Uvalde should be blank. You guys know they demonetized our last 6 videos. That's why I wasn't even celebrating when we got monetized back. The only thing that's good about monetization is that you guys can leave super chats. But I have long made peace with the fact that we're not going to get paid on YouTube. I have made peace with that. So monetization is good so you guys leave super chats. But man, I literally looked before I did the stream. Lack 6 limited. Damn. So I'm not gonna censor myself. What's the point? I'm gonna do just enough so we don't get pulled. That's it. Damn, people always trying to text me while I'm live. You know I'm fucking live. But anyway, let's get to the main story. So I think I'm gonna just play the press conference because I think it speaks for itself. The response of the police in the shooting, not only what they did, but their response, their PR response. If this doesn't wake people up, I don't know what will. Like, at this point, if you're on the side of the police after this, I'm not trying to win you over. I'm trying to mobilize the army to defeat you. Because I mentioned before, the growth of this movement to strengthen the power of the police, to defund the police movement, has grown significantly. So let me let's play the video, and then we comment. I didn't read a lot of chats today. I'm gonna read some chats too. Damn, my mouse like malfunctioning, guys. Dude, my computer about to break. My internet went out yesterday. Support the show, man. This is getting rough. Oh shit, we got Jimmy. What's up, Jimmy? Or Steph? Liberals hate Nader because they blame him for Bush. Now they love Bush and still hate Nader. Ain't that some shit? Oh man, Jimmy in the house. Yes. The Democratic Party and the liberal class have shifted. Well, you can make the argument they've always been like this, but now it's like straight out in the open that they are the party of the intelligence communities. They are the parties of the intelligence communities. Now, don't get it twisted. Republicans, they still back the national security state, But the kayfabe that they play, the theater that they play, is we're gonna challenge the deep state, even though they still fund them more. And then the Democrats like, no, you gotta trust our intelligence communities. MSNBC literally is filled with FBI informants, CIA ops, people who came from the deep state, right? So thank you for super chat, Jimmy. Thank you for a $4.99. Love the channel. I told you after the debate with Destiny, man. I should have did debates more. I should have did it more because now we got more people watching after that. Like that person said, I'm not gonna show his PM because I'm gonna keep it private. But I had a lot of people reach out to me that said, after being exposed to your views, I'm done. I want to move past the Democrat Party. And big props to that guy. You know who you are. Hopefully you watching this because he was like, I'm done with being a social Democrat. I'm done with this. So I hope that happened to a lot of people. Thank you for the $10. Speaking truth as always. Keep preaching, Nick. Appreciate RBN a ton. Please be kind to Green Party folks like me. We're trying to make good things happen. You guys know I strongly agree with the Jill Stein wing of the Green Party. Jill Stein is an amazing friend of the show, and I have a ton of respect for her. But just to keep it simple, the Green Party will be best served to follow the Jill Stein wing of the party instead of the Howie Hawkins wing. And I'm not trying to be mean to Howie because I always give Howie credit for his involvement in the labor movement, his climate activism, and him drafting the Green New Deal, the original one that was actually anti-imperialist. Much love for Howie Hawkins. I'm not trying to diss Howie Hawkins, right? We have significant disagreements, and he had been left behind. And that was shown when we interviewed him. I interviewed him and I gave him a lot of time to clarify a lot of his statements, and he doubled down on significant disagreements like Russia. He doubled down on Russiagate. Literally he was repeating Putin derangement talking points on Ukraine. And you guys seen Jill Stein, she wasn't having it. She wasn't having it. She's been on fire on our show, on Savvy's show. So I am supportive of the Green Party because they got reparations on the platform. They are a socialist party. I just implore them, please listen to Jill Stein. That's all I'm going to say. So thank you guys for super chats. Hopefully I didn't miss any other ones. I appreciate CJ. Big shout out to my brother CJ helping me produce. I've been complaining on my shows like, man, I need a producer. So you guys see it go a little bit smoother when we have people like CJ. So big shout out to our homie CJ. He's here. I actually see for your comments. Feel free to spotlight your comments too. Propaganda normalizes police brutality. Yeah, put more of your comments up here too, so we can hear from you too. Justin B, thank you for the $5. I am Joe Steinwing, spot on assessment. Yes, we need help with the Holly wing. And I know that's a tough thing to say. I don't like going after Holly. I really don't, guys. I voted for Holly Hawkins. I have a lot of disagreements with him. But it's one of them things where I had disagreements with a lot of people. But I think Holly Hawkins he's been a friend of the left for a very long time. I just think he fell behind. Jimmy. All right, so this is Jimmy's criticism. Howie is a CIA talking point machine. He does PR for fight. Oh yeah, that's not good. He is a pro-mandate Russiagator. I don't know if you saw my interview with him, Howie. I mean, my interview with him, Jimmy, or Steph, but it was rough. It was a rough interview, but it had to happen. I had to push back on him a few times. So I gave him opportunity to clarify many criticism that people on the left have for him, though. So thank you for the 999 Caesar. Once again, I know we got. Maybe I'm a softie, but I still give Howie respect for his old school like labor organizing and climate activism, despite like the harsh criticism I get from him. So neoliberals are the neighbors of fascism. And if we don't understand that imperialism is the highest stage of capitalism, more lives will be lost on all sides. And that's what Jill Stein said. Like the difference between Jill Stein and Howie Hawkins on foreign policy is extremely confusing. Like, I don't know what the hell happened to the Green Party. I like Angela Walker, but it's like, guys, please change course. Go back to the Jill Stein wing. For the love of God. For the love of God, please go back to the Jill Stein wing. That's all I'm going to say. Because she understood that. But thank you for the 999. That's why I like I'm glad that we monetize on YouTube. Just so we get super chats again, I tell you guys, they've demonetized our last 5 or 6 streams. Right? So Jill Stein and Ralph Nader are a couple of the best people in my lifetime who has ever attempted to run for political office. I was way too young to understand how base Ralph Nader was back then. I was 9 years old in that election, right? But looking back at Ralph Nader, I'm like, man, base as hell, right? Well, I'm sure you can find small disagreements, I'm sure, but for the most part, it was pretty base, right? So let's keep the super chats coming. We actually really do got to get to the story. We're 40 minutes in. We still haven't showed the video. That's my bad. So if we got 400 people watching now, so now we got a lot of people watching for the main story, which is good. We're going to go back to the cops, and they are now blaming teachers. They have been lying about this story from day one. Even MSNBC ran a story. I don't have it saved. I may search for it real quick. But even they ran a story where it was like, maybe we should stop trusting cops after tragic events where they are caught lying all the time. All the time. This is not the first mass shooting they have lied about. So I'm glad people are now realizing this. So now they are scrambling. Because, like I said, as far as I'm concerned, they lucky that place ain't burnt down. And they ain't charged for manslaughter for allowing that to happen. So let me go to the video. I'm gonna keep talking too much. It's so infuriating. It's so fucking frustrating. So let's watch the video. And I'll shut the hell up.
Suspected of where we knew the shooter entered, Ramos, was propped open by a teacher. 11:28, the suspect vehicle crashes into the ditch, as previously described. The teacher runs to the room 132 to retrieve a phone, and that same teacher walks back to the exit door, and door remains propped open. Suspected.
What the hell does that have to do with the fact that you guys was sitting there and allowing a gunman to kill people because you were scared of getting shot? This is the headline I shared. And I said, if this doesn't change people's minds on this issue, I don't know what will. I honestly don't. Texas police lieutenant says cops was reluctant to engage gunmen because they could have been shot. So, sir, how does blaming a dead teacher who cannot defend herself, by the way, the lowest of the low scumbags these people are? And by the way, don't get it twisted. This is normal for police. Look at Eric Adams. Look at the Minnesota Police Department, the Baltimore Police Department. This is not an outlier. They're just another example of small town bumbling cops. They're blaming and smearing a dead teacher. And this pains me to report, because you guys know how much I hate Border Patrol. This pains me to say. I didn't have to say, but I think I can find it real quick. But the Border Patrol agents that went in and killed the shooter, they did so in defiance of the police order. Do you guys know that? The police was trying to hold them off. You had the parents who they tased, and they was brutalizing the parents who were trying to run in to save their kids. And then you had other law enforcement agencies, including Border Patrol, who was like, you guys are out of your goddamn mind. And then they defied the police orders, ran in and killed the shooters. So you see how he's shifting the blame on the teacher? These people are the biggest scumbags. Now, it's so bad that people are starting like, damn. And I'm telling you guys, these are people I do not agree with. I keep my eyes on everyone. We got eyes in the sky on RBN. I see people that are to my right that's like, damn, those defunded police movement people, they was fucking right. These cops don't do shit for us. These cops don't do shit. Now kids have to die for people to see it. Sucks, man. People constantly have to die to people see it. George Floyd had to die. Tamir Rice has to die. Breonna Taylor has to die. I don't want to be an accelerist theory advocate. That seems like that's the only time we can get white America's attention. Is when people die. People just now saying we're done with the Democratic Party because Joe Biden was a accelerist candidate in comparison to to Donald Trump. But now more people are like, oh shit, Joe Biden is expanding all the worst stuff as Donald Trump. So people call me the accelerist theory advocate. They're also like, oh, you're a accelerist theory fascist because I won't vote for a Democrat. Meanwhile, it's the people who voted for Democrats who was the accelerist theory advocates. The same thing that happened now. Like, it's the people who have revolutionary discipline who we try to prevent accelerist actions from happening. But since people don't listen to us, people have to die. Now people are dying. Now people are realizing that defund the police and our advocates was right, which is why CJ put out a tweet. Maybe I'm gonna dig it up. Let me dig up CJ's tweet. Well, he's like, poll it now. I'm gonna find a tweet. It won't chill for a second. Here, because we've been asking, I've been looking, and I explained how they stopped reporting this. Here, I'll show you guys this receipt. I think I'll show you guys this receipt here. So you guys know I'm not full of shit. This was the 2020 exit pollings. In this same polling, Medicare for All shot in approval, and I saw progressives reporting on that, but then they didn't report on this part. A majority of voters want to reallocate funds from their local police budgets to crime prevention initiatives such as counseling, drug treatment, job training, and education, including 74% Democrats. And as I explained to you guys, that number is dragged down by white liberals. Look at the breakdown. Black people and Latinos are the reason why that Democrat number is so high. And then you have 55% of independent voters who are for defund the police. Now, quiz time. Which is the largest segment of voters? Literally 50% of voters are independents. So you would think that this poll would be extremely significant, but you only heard it on RBN. Now our boy CJ, let's see if I can find the tweet manually. Here's my timeline. Oh yeah, I'm gonna take the time to shout this out. Tour for the Poor Kansas City barbecue event, July 10th. If you're in Kansas City or if you are within driving distance of Kansas City, hit us up. This is a community event. We'll be giving out diapers. See, Rome said we're trying to get another 10,000 diapers for families in need. So since I'm on my timeline, mutual aid shout out, Tour for the Poor. If Rome ran, you get me interested in electoral politics. That's what I'm saying. Rome is a true leader of the left movement. Feeding people, installing revolutionary discipline and protection. Get Rome to run for Congress, then I get interested in electoral politics. That's all I'm gonna say. Let's see if I can find CJ's. Here it is. Take a poll now on defund the police. Man, so people are starting to get people waking up. So I'm gonna show you guys the dumbest tweet I have ever seen from Tim Pool, because now he's getting trashed. All these right-wing culture warriors, they're bullshit on defund the police. People are not having it no more. The tide has turned. We need a Nick versus Adolph Reed debate. I saw the interview that Sabby did with Adolph Reed. That is just another example of a lot of the academics, they agree with you on these issues, but when you ask them about how they saw the issues, you see the privilege come out. Like, there was not long talking about how the police state is corrupt. He talked about how police literally don't solve crimes and literally only protects capital and siphons wealth from the working class. But then he doesn't support defund the police. What? That doesn't make no sense. If you are for the legalization of marijuana, for example, Our police budgets exploded in the 1980s because we are fighting the drug war. That is where most of our resources are spent on policing. So if you're on the left and you want to end the drug war, why the hell are you against defund the police? Because that's where their budget is going. That is so moronic. But these people are so propagandized, they don't even realize how that doesn't even make sense. If you implement all the reforms that you claim you want, you are defunding the police. If we take their weapons away, we are defunding the police and their budgets. If we are stripping them of their pensions, we are defunding the police. If we end the drug war, we are defunding the police. If we end mandatory minimums, we are defunding the prison industrial complex. So that's why I don't understand that people are so unserious about this issue. And he's one of them, unfortunately. That discussion with Sabi was really disappointing. I'm not gonna lie. And big props to Garland Nixon, because he was the only person who ever had the balls to debate me on this issue. And I think it was a really good educational event. Joe Stein, since 2015, Nader never practiced civility politics. Yep. If you don't practice civility politics, they will make an enemy of you. That's why Bernie Sanders suck up to these people, because Bernie Sanders believe in civility politics. So I'm trying to see if I missed any other super chats while I was doing my story. Thank you for the 999. Hopefully I didn't read this already. Yeah, I didn't read that one. All right, so I'm caught up. Anyway, thank you for the super chat. Our next story, and you guys who watch the channel know I usually never comment on like conservative commentators, right? But this was so dumb. I cannot help it. I'm sorry, guys. Because even though he's getting racial to death, I still see way too many likes than I am comfortable with, right? So we got to have a conversation. We got to have a conversation about Tim Pool and this insane tweet. Is this going to be the talking point of the big the big government nanny state bootlickers on the right? Now, Tim Pool claims he's like a libertarian, right? Anyway, before I get into that, let me read this tweet. And you guys see why I decided to talk about this, because I think this is extremely relevant. This is the dumbest tweet I've ever seen. I am not exaggerating. Defund the police. This is what you get. Incompetent officers. Now, look at this ratio. He's getting ratio to oblivion. Everyone's mocking him. But 16,000 is way too much. I don't care. There's way too much. Even if 50% of Joe Biden's followers are fake, if even 50% of those likes are fake, that's too much. Because it's the dumbest shit I've ever seen in my life. And as I pointed out, so how Tim Pool believes that Greg Abbott, the Republican governor in Texas, defunded the police. Let me repeat. Tim Pool really believed that Texas defund the police. How did the defund the police movement impact the cops that was on the scene and who was incompetent, that was on the police force for years before the movement even started? So why am I bringing this up? Because I've told you guys, be wary of these people who call themselves libertarians, these right-wing libertarians, these right-wing populists. If you are on the side of the police state in the military-industrial complex, you are by no definition and by no means friends of the workers. You are by no means a populist. Are we clear? Look at this. This dude is getting dragged by everybody, man. And they bring it up. The amount of money we give to the police as an all-time historic high. What are you even talking about? You see how unserious these right-wingers we talk about on the show are? Which is why I rarely talk about them. You guys understand, the Uvalde police, 40% of their budgets went to the police. The Uvalde school district had a police department with literally a police chief and everything. What else does Tim Pool want? What does the quote-unquote small government advocate want more? And guys, I told you guys, these people are dumbasses who are popped up by the algorithm. I don't even subscribe to Tim Pool, but I see his streams pop up every once in a while because I watch a ton of independent news, even though I'm not subscribed to him. He has like 40,000 people that watch him live almost every single fucking time. 40,000 people. Look at this. 1.3 million followers saying the dumbest shit I've ever seen in my life. You guys see how dumb Hassan is? 1 million followers. You guys see how I schooled Destiny. He had like 7,000 people watching him in our debate. And I told you guys, there's this thing, and this is why RBN, we are shooting up, because we have to hustle. We got to be intelligent. We got to have history lessons. We got to do complicated breakdowns. But like, dude, they're just like these white dudes that just get in front of the camera and they just say shit. And all you got to do is be white and confident. And you can get away with saying whatever you want, it seems. Let's see some other people drag them. Gritty, always give him shout outs because his tweets are based. Except they didn't actually defund the police. Good guy politics. 40% of Uvalde's police budget go to the police. What the fuck more do you want? This is our police compared to other people's military expenditures. These are police. No, guys, this is other people's military budget. Do you guys know that? But meanwhile, these right-wingers claim they are for small government. So this is why I tell people on the left, we need to lean into this issue. Instead of having this as like a side note, this should be the main shit we are talking about. Because this exposes the quote-unquote right-wing populist. This exposes the right-wing libertarian. This exposes the liberal class. This exposes the progressive class. This exposes the Republican class. The only people that are principled on this issue are the people they claim are big government socialists. Isn't that funny? I'm the big government nanny state socialist. Meanwhile, every single political ideology want these big nanny state goons who do not protect us and they let our children die. How does that work? So I talk about this issue over and over and over again because this exposes them. The military-industrial complex, U.S. imperialism. You guys saw how I went to foreign policy immediately with Destiny. That was the first thing when I debated with Destiny. I immediately went to foreign policy because that destroys the people who believe in American exceptionalism. Our prison-industrial complex destroyed the people who believe that we have civil rights and liberties, who believe we are in a country of freedom. There are people who believe we got the First Amendment. There are people who think we got a Second Amendment. If you think we got First Amendment, ask BDS activists about the First Amendment that you guys think we have. Ask protesters, like Ron DeSantis is banning protesting. Ask us, tell us more about the First Amendment. Tell us more about the Second Amendment, where they can shoot, the cops can shoot people because they have a gun on them. If you have a gun on them, they will shoot you, and then they will say, oh, we have probable cause because he has a gun on you. And I'm asking you guys, if the police and the government can kill you because you have a gun on you, this Second Amendment that you think you have, it does not exist. Now, I also want to be clear. Apparently, this shit exists for white people, but this Second Amendment, it never existed for us. It never existed for the black community and workers. As soon as the Black Panthers marched on Washington with rifles, the NRA was for gun control real quick. So maybe these rights exist for some of you guys, but I'm telling you, it never existed for us. Ask Breonna Taylor about the Fourth Amendment, right? Ask them about the Fifth Amendment. These things don't exist. The Sixth Amendment is gone too. I'm preparing a story on that. That's the Supreme Court just overturned. People don't have to look at evidence with new wrongdoing. I'm still preparing the story now. I gotta read more into it. The Supreme Court pretty much gonna make it so if there's new evidence that released that could prove someone innocent, you cannot use that anymore, right? And I gotta do more research. Maybe I should, because I think that's part of the Sixth Amendment. Correct me if I'm wrong, right? I think they're rolling back the Sixth Amendment by rejecting all future evidence that would let people off. I tweeted about it. I'll read you guys the headline, but I'm letting you guys know I'm preparing a segment on it. I didn't necessarily what the hell I tweeted out? I did tweet out. Where is it? Here it is. So this I'm still preparing the segment, but this is I think there's them rolling back our Sixth Amendment. Let me know if I'm quoting out on top of my head, so hopefully I'm not wrong on that. And this is what I was explaining to Destiny. The U.S. is a barbaric, uncivilized society. The Supreme Court guts lifeline for prisoners who claim wrongful convictions. The decision bars federal courts from hearing new evidence not presented in a state court as a result of ineffective legal counsel. So forgive me, I'm gonna do my research, but I think that against the Sixth Amendment or Seventh Amendment. I forgot. I apologize. I'm still researching the story. My point is, they always roll back our rights. We got temporary allowances. Do you guys realize that? So let's see. I think that's my temple segment because I usually don't want to give them too much attention. I do want we have our post show on Callin, and I'm gonna be taking calls and questions from you guys. Please click the link on the description. In the description, I have another segment that I'm gonna do though. We gotta do update on Shireen Akleh. She was the journalist from Al-Lajura who was assassinated by Israel. So I think that'd be our next segment. So stay tuned, guys. Let's do a quick chat check. And then after that segment, we're gonna move to Callin. So if you guys haven't been on Callin, you guys are missing out. It's literally been a lefty takeover of Callin. I was on Brown Joy Gray show. We killed it. Glenn Greenwald's on Callin. Q Anthony Amene, Aaron Mate, Danny Haifong. Like literally, Callin is being taken over by the left and anti-imperialists right now. You guys see my throat getting dry, so I gotta drink my tea real quick. But we will be I'll do a post Callin show after this, and I can take some questions. Also, big shout out to friend of the show, Nolly. Much love, comrade. Make sure you guys support the Patreon as well if you guys are enjoying this content. Because even though we monetize on YouTube again, they literally demonetize the last 6 streams. I can literally go. I can show you guys receipts, but I think you guys believe me, right? So yeah, we can't rely on YouTube. Anyone knows that. Everyone knows that. So make sure you support the Patreon. Thank you, Nolly. Let me get what I need for the next story. Is there any super chat? Hopefully I'm missing any super chats, guys. I don't have like multiple monitors. So when I do my stories, I have a hard time seeing chat sometimes. There's a lot of chats here. Leave super chats if you really, really want me to read them. Because unfortunately, here's one I missed. Justin B, thank you for the $5. Would love to see Rome elected to a city council with enough other like-minded folks so they can take it over and make good things happen. Like you guys know, Rome is creating his own communist party, right? Like get Rome to run, and then I'm signed up. I'm canvassing for Rome. Like there's not a lot of motherfuckers I will canvass for anymore. I don't even believe in electoral politics like that, but Rome is a leader, man. So, I'm doing the chat check. I'm sorry, guys. I'm super behind on comments. We got another super chat. I'm gonna get to that. Yeah, you guys know I never cover people like Tim Pool like that, but that was so dumb. I feel like that was a good education event. So my friend Didi, you need to join us on Callin. We doing a Callin post show. Does demonetizing video prevent super chat money from going through? Bill, I'm still waiting for you to give us our super chat money. I'm hoping they do. When we tell you guys to support the Patreon and leave Venmo super chats, we're not doing that to be greedy. I'm telling you guys, YouTube is not the platform, guys. Why you guys think everyone's on Rumble, Rofkin? YouTube is big, but this is not where it's at. I'm telling you guys. So we appreciate all the support we can get, no matter what. But I'm telling you guys, YouTube is not where it's at. So, anyway, let's move on to the next story. We gotta do an update on Shireen Akleh, who was killed by Israel. She was assassinated by Israel. And this is the 12th journalist Al Jazeera had killed, and Israel is notorious for murdering journalists. Now, Shireen had literally media on her, a helmet, and then they shot her in the head with a precision sniper through her helmet. They were aiming in between her helmet. They said the bullet went in between it, right? So this is an update on this story, right? Surprisingly, this came from CNN. Because it can't be denied. And once again, RBN, we was in front. Also, big shout out to Richard Medhurst. I want to get Richard Medhurst on the show. We had him on like last summer, but he's a hard guy to get a hold of because he's been doing good coverage on this story as well. And we had said, I told you guys this was an assassination. Or you guys told me that a sniper didn't see the fact that she was media, and Shireen, who is famous in that region, they don't know who she is. It's not like they were, and then Israel tried to lie and say, "Oh, there was Palestinian gunmen. There was a gunfight, and she was just caught up in gunfire." That never happened. Every single person on the ground said there was no Palestinian gunmen. There were no clashes with Palestinian forces. Right? It was literally an assassination. And now even CNN is saying this. They were shooting directly at the journalists. New evidence suggests Shireen Abdul Akleh was killed in targeted attack by Israeli forces. Are you going to see all the people, all the Stand With Ukraine people mentioning this? All the people with Putin derangement syndrome? Are you going to see them? Why were the sanctions on Israel? Why aren't we defunding Israel? They are killing journalists. As I mentioned before, imagine in Ukraine, Russia having a targeted attack on a prominent Ukraine journalist that was known to everyone in the region and was a hero like Shireen Abdul Akleh. Hopefully I said her name correctly. This is what drives me crazy. Because while this happened, as Israel assassinated Shireen Abdul Akleh, you had Nina Turner and John Fetterman saying, "We stand with Israel. We do not support BDS." This was the message that was coming from progressives as Israel was killing journalists. Now look at this. Al Jazeera, who had, this is their 12th reporter that died in reporting since they were founded in 1996. They are not letting Israel get away with this. Now, I don't know if any of these moves are going to actually matter, but they have been calling out Israel for the barbaric apartheid state that they are. Now, Al Jazeera to refer journalist Shireen Abdul killing to the ICC, the International Criminal Court. Now, we're going to be following this story closely. I don't think, now once again, I don't want to be pessimistic, but I don't think much really going to come for this because the United States has actively undermined the International Criminal Court, who have, to be fair to them, gone after Israel for their crimes. So I can't wait to see what happens to this. So let's read just a little bit of this one. Al Jazeera Media Network has assigned a legal team to refer the killing of its journalist Shireen Abdul Akleh to the International Criminal Court in The Hague. And once again, that the United States do not even recognize the ICC. In fact, George Bush said they would invade if anyone in the United States would try for human rights violation. Maybe they might do it with Israel, right? Oh yeah, and they also I didn't see this part. So they also going to the ICC, and that would include Israel bombing the Al Jazeera office in Gaza. I remember we reported on this during the Gaza strikes last year, literally a year ago. They bombed Al Jazeera's office. So I'm glad I just now saw this update. They including that. So this is great. This is great because while everyone is pretending Russia is this unique evil, the United States allies has been emboldened by our hypocrisy on human rights Just like Cuba warned will happen when we fall for the West hypocrisy on human rights, where you kick off Russia off the UN Human Rights Council, while the United States, who is funding multiple genocides, who cops indiscriminately kill their own civilians, they are on the Human Rights Council. These hypocrisies allow people like Saudi Arabia to double down on killings on journalists. It allows Israel to straight up assassinate Shireen Akleh because they, under Naftali Bennett, has been escalating their ethnic cleansing of Palestinians. Yes, they had been escalating this. All this while you had Nina Turner, John Fetterman, and the progressives essentially reject BDS, reject and sell out the Palestinian people. So let me share what the Amnesty International. So Amnesty International have balls, but our progressives do not. Thank you for the super chat. See, I call this now. Thank you for $20. I think I already read this. I already read this one. My bad. All right, let me I'll go to the next. I'll show you guys Amnesty International. And then we wrap up after this segment, and then we're gonna move to Callin. Crime of apartheid. The government of Israel's system of oppression against Palestinians. So Amnesty International, they was like Israel is an apartheid state. Last time I saw, maybe I gotta check again. But Bernie Sanders warned against the left using terms like apartheid state because he was like, "Oh, you don't. That's unnecessarily divisive." I'll see if I can dig up that retweet. But this is literally come from peace groups, Amnesty International, and many activists. Anyone who is objective can call out the apartheid state of Israel. This is why Dr. Cornel West was denied tenure in Harvard, because he stood with the Palestinians. Apartheid is a violation of public international law, a grave human rights violation, and a crime against humanity. It constitutes both a system formed of laws, policy, and practices, and a crime. The term apartheid was originally used to refer to a political system in South Africa, which explicitly enforced racial segregation and the dominant and oppression of one racial group by another. Let me read that again. The domination and oppression of one racial group by another. It has since been adopted by the international community to condemn and criminalize such systems and practices whenever they occur in the world. So make sure you guys check out Amnesty International. This is a good actually, I'll read this last part. This is good. The crime of apartheid takes place when inhuman or inhumane acts listed by Article 2 of the Apartheid Convention or Article 7 of the ICC statute are committed. Inhuman or inhumane acts are committed against a racial group, a civilian population. So this one is Palestine right here. This one is Palestine. Palestinians are very diverse people. The racial group is a civilian population. The acts were committed in context of an institutionalized regime. This is Israel, backed by the United States. The acts were committed for the purpose of establishing, been a long stream, guys, and maintaining dominance. So we explained, this is what Naftali Bennett said. He believed that we should have one united Israel, dominated by the Zionist Jews, which is why he said before, why don't we just take Gaza? This is a quote from Naftali Bennett. This is why people was like, yo, Benjamin Netanyahu is insane, but this Naftali Bennett character is dangerous. And now he's doubling down on the apartheid state of Israel and ethnically cleansing Palestinians. Now, there's one last video that I want to share with you guys, and then we will move to Callin. So we're trying to grow a platform on Callin. We got a lot of support on Callin. Briandre Gray helped us out a lot by platforming. Like, Bree has the highest rated show on Callin. It's very interesting. Callin's been dominated by the left, which is very cool to see. So I'm gonna show you guys this video. We're kind of reacting to this because I saw our friend of the show, Dr. Cornel West, he tweeted this out, and he commented on the recent aggression of Israel. So I actually haven't seen this video yet. I saw this before I went live and decided to throw this at the end of the segment. But Dr. Cornel West is always on fire on this issue, so I know this is going to be a good video. So let's check this out.
Israeli government, Israeli military forces has such an assumption of impunity. You can say anything and get away with it, do anything and get away with it, and have the complicity of the media in the United States. We've been sitting and watching day after day about the heroism of the Ukrainians in the face of a very ugly Russian imperial invasion and occupation. And yet when it comes to Palestinian heroic resistance to vicious Israeli occupation and domination, it's the exact opposite. So you can just see the depth and the scope and the breadth of the lies that hide the crimes and the mendacity that hides the criminality behind Israeli occupation. It's a sign of desperation when you have to reach the point where you think that you can actually murder and execute a highly prominent, highly respected, highly acclaimed Palestinian journalist and get away with it. So that the impunity has been on steroids for a long time. That's precisely how unaccountable elites behave. And that's what we're dealing with when we're talking about our dear sister Shireen. She was a gem, man. She was a jewel. She was a truth teller. She was a love warrior. But to love Palestinians in a world in which indifference to Palestinian life is so pervasive, given the lies and the crimes perpetrated by American media, executions and murder done by Israeli Defense Forces, means, of course, that you yourself get criminalized because Palestinian love is a crime.
A funeral procession today in Jerusalem for an iconic veteran journalist killed in the West Bank turned violent.
Fox News, that's associated much more with neo-fascist sensibilities and movements in America, we have hardly any expectations at all. But when it comes to CNN and MSNBC that claims to be progressive, claims to be so concerned about the truth, claims to be objective, you can see how that's a myth. You can see how that's shattered when it comes to dealing with the Palestinian plight and predicament in the Middle East. There's very, very little concern about outright murder, outright execution. And when there is a claim of concern, it's posing, it's posturing, it's acting as if it's concerned. Well, we need to have an investigation. Well, who's going to be the authority in the investigation? Israel itself. What a joke. What are you talking about? Do you know how many investigations there have been when Israel claims to be the authority and comes back with lies again? And the very fact that they've been able to get away with it for so long, the propaganda machine that comes out of Israel when it comes to the precious humanity of Palestinians, it's just, it's sad, but it has so much to do with mass complicity. It has to do with the New York Times and the Washington Post and CNN and MSNBC and others not wanting to be truthful about themselves.
So we gotta talk about it. We gotta talk about Ukraine. We gotta have a talk with that brother about Ukraine. But that video was beautiful. That video was great. I don't want to derail it with anything else. That was just a great video. You can see how Dr. Cornel West. This is why he would deny tenure from Harvard, because he refused to throw the Palestinians under the bus, unlike many people in our progressive movement. So I think with that, I think this is a great time to wrap up the video. If you guys want to continue the conversation, I have the link in the video description of the call-in that I'm about to do, or post show. We're going to talk about the same thing. I would love to hear what you guys think regarding the cop incompetence. I shared stories and anecdotal experiences that people have with the police, and I would love to hear that from you guys as well. And I'm gonna talk about my story and maybe some more stories in detail on Callin. But I want to hear from you guys. We'll talk more about the story. I'm gonna see if we get some more updates on Callin. Hopefully we get some comrades that can join us. So we're gonna do another hour on Callin. But if you guys enjoy this stream, please like, subscribe, and support on Patreon. Also, make sure you guys show support to our brother James Fauntleroy, our brother JB. He is in the hospital right now. Unfortunately, he won't be able to do a show tomorrow. Critical support to our comrade James Fauntleroy. Let me see if I can find his GoFundMe, because we need to show support, because it's heartbreaking, man. So he's not be able to make a show tomorrow. But Nick and CJ will be back on Monday. And we always got a lot of great show for you guys. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hopefully you guys can stick around for our next call-in show. And thank you guys for watching.